This week, we get into the TARDIS with everyone's favorite Time Lord and discuss the 1982 Doctor Who story arc, Earthshock. No guests were harmed in the making of this episode, but some might have fallen asleep. Welcome to another episode of Wreck the 80s. Let's start us off here. All right. Well, welcome to the Wreck My podcast, where we are covering the 80s for the whole month of August, and we're asking the hard-hitting question, like, where's the beef? Do you guys remember that was an 80s commercial?
Yeah, the worst episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I hated when he just went around and asked all the Cybermen where the beef was.
Yeah.
But before we start, I just want to mention we do have a Patreon page now.
Yay. Whoa.
So go check that out. The info will be in the description notes, and we'll touch on it a little bit more at the end of what some of the reward tiers are. I think it's patreon.com/wreckmypodcast, but check the description notes to be positive. Because I'm a great host and I don't remember. All right, so this week we have a listener-submitted topic of some 80s Doctor Who episodes. We're going to be talking about the 4-episode story arc called Earthshock from 1982. And you guys, when you got here, you were really happy I had you watch that, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, very ecstatic.
Great stuff, right? So before we start off here, for our new listeners tuning in, and if you're a loyal listener subjecting your ear holes to my voice every week, you already know my name is Jordan. And I have some awesome new guests here, or an awesome new guest. I have Dave Diligiro, the pride of Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And Whoville extraordinaire. Are you Whovian?
Whovian. Extreme.
Yes, extreme.
Brother of past guests.
Yes, Kevin Diligiro, the
peace.
second best Puerto Rico. Yeah, rest in peace. He went off to he's in a better place. Yes. Actually, no, he's in a worse place. He's in Texas. We have Cam, the man who eats ham but never lamb, on the show. Yeah. And then we have Joe, the king of gay chicken.
King of gay chicken?
Yeah. I don't know. My new thing is I start writing out like things for guests, and I just go with it. And I thought, Joe, gay chicken, cool. Why not?
That is the first thing I think of.
Why though?
I don't know. We played gay chicken at some point in our high school career.
What is gay chicken?
So gay chicken is
that's when you run up to touch wieners, right?
No, but actually real.
And then you have to stop.
Yeah.
Whoever keeps going.
And the
is
first
the gay
person,
one?
the first person that diverts is.
Well, no. So I
chicken.
actually found
Is
out
the
real
chicken.
gay chicken. So I listened to another podcast called the Junk Drawer Podcast. So go check them out. And in the Army, I guess this is how they play gay chicken, because one of the guys is from. He's actually the Navy, but the military. One dude stands butt towards the other guy. Other guy goes dick towards butt. Whoever diverts first loses gay chicken, or you just become gay. So either way, you win or you lose, depending on how you look at it.
In Texas, they call that Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. After a bottle of whiskey.
And that's another shout out to Kevin Diligiro.
I'm just so. Hang on, let's break this down.
Yeah, break it down.
One, according to these men who play this game,
They're closeted gay men that
Who served our country.
They
yeah,
did.
which is great, awesome, good for them. Also,
They need to let off some steam.
yeah, they should. Also, like, you don't. I don't understand the terms of the game. Like what the reward is sex?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, so who would ever divert?
Yeah, I don't know. Because, I mean, sex is like pizza, whether it's still pizza no matter what.
Right.
So it could be gay pizza, but it's still pizza.
Yeah, people mostly have it in the evening, but it's the best in the morning.
Yes, exactly.
Also,
the morning. Yeah, go for
I
it.
could also picture everyone playing it being very adamant that it's not gay.
Oh, of course.
They high five after,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Bro, no, that was dope.
Good job. Good
You
job.
really stuck it to me on that one.
You got me."
At their gay wedding. No, it's not
I mean,
gay. It's gay.
it's not gay. It's a
We're
game.
still playing this game.
Yes, exactly. All right. So let's move on from that, because that was a little bit of a tangent. The reason
Now from gay chicken to Doctor Who.
to Doctor Who.
Basically the same.
So the reason we have Dave on this week is because he is the expert on Doctor Who.
Because I wore a T-shirt.
Because you wore a T-shirt, so you are the expert. Now, what time period are you most knowledgeable in? The newer stuff?
You know, I got into the newer stuff, and then I went back and started looking at the old stuff, and it's a cluster of just terrible stuff. but it's that terrible that it's amazing.
Yes.
It's so bad, and you guys watch this. It's awful, but it's so awful that it borders on fantastic. It gets to the point where
So
the
bad it's good.
Cybermen are just the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Dressed.
They were
villain.
ridiculous. Can I just
Tin Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Can I just say too? The androids that they had were literally Charlie Day, Green Man, but like Silver Man.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck is this?
And then that just smooth helmet.
Yeah, smooth. And then they had the hands that shot lasers. I'm like, I want my hand to shoot lasers. That's amazing.
The doctor looks like he's going to play polo.
Well, the doctor is literally
seriously.
Willy Wonka. I'm like, did Gene Wilder ever play a doctor? Because those
Probably
pants
would
are
have been
amazing.
the best doctor.
Oh yeah,
ever.
he would have been like rolling around and up. He's like, woo, like Gene Wilder. That's great stuff.
You get nothing.
So
you lose.
yeah.
Good day, sir.
And then Charlie floats off into a fan. And so before we get into spoilers here, let's go around and just say you thought fantastically horrible.
Yes.
I remember Cam wrote me and said,
Yeah, let's read what I wrote.
read what you wrote me.
I wrote, does it make me a bad nerd if I fell asleep after part 1 of Earthshock right after drinking a 16-ounce Red Bull?
And I told you, no, you should probably go to the doctor. Just after drinking a Red Bull.
Yeah, Jordan's second part of what he said. He had a similar version, but he made it through a second part before he
Yes,
fell asleep.
I did.
And he wrote, the whole Red Bull thing might mean there's something wrong with your body.
Yeah. And then, Joe, you told me you fell asleep.
Yeah, it took me.
Dave, you're the only one who made it without
It took
falling
me
asleep.
2 times to watch it. I did fall asleep the first time as well.
And I can tell you what, I nerded out so bad. I was going, ooh, this is going to be great.
You not
Are
only...
there things that like are referenced that you recognize, or like
There
things that
are.
are later on in like the later episodes or even earlier, since you watched so much of it?
It's always a cool thing with Doctor Who where it intertwines through. It's 50 freaking years this show's been on.
Seriously.
And so it is cool like that. But looking back now, the Cybermen today are just as terrible. They're really,
They keep
really
them that
bad.
campy?
They're pretty campy, but they're more robotic now. It was hilarious to me to hear this guy. He was just kind of a pompous Englishman.
Yeah.
He was just, well, doctor,
Yeah.
if you don't like it. It was that was the most hilarious. You're supposed to be a robot and you're just a douchebag.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was really funny to me.
Speaking of...
Hang on, guys. Okay, go ahead.
Whoa.
I had to find out where the actual microphone's listening to me in.
Should I turn mine around too? and
Yeah,
make it
turn
even
it
more-
around.
Is this a thing?
Yeah, it's how we do it. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, now the timing's off.
Sorry. I wrecked your joke.
My joke
Sorry.
now. Yeah, wreck my joke.
Wreck my joke
continue.
podcast.
That's fine. Continue.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, so so this is the one thing I was super bummed out about because I haven't seen a single episode of Doctor Who.
Oh wow.
So this is my first going into it, and
Same here.
So sorry.
I mean, I understood what I was getting into. 1982, it's a British TV show. They don't have that much of a budget. They were probably like, "Hey, we'll give you some chips and a pint," like that to work
Even
here.
today, how
so,
great is British TV really?
I mean, they got Sherlock and they got some good shows, but production wise, like they've never had a lot of money to work with. I feel like.
Funny enough, this is the 5th Doctor.
Yes.
And the 4th Doctor was so unbelievably good, Tom Baker, that they gave the show a huge budget.
Oh, and then
so
they
this
brought
is
him in.
probably the best
budget.
and it
Oh,
was
wow.
that bad.
I gotta tell you, my favorite part was the intro and all that, like the with the face, and then it turns into stars, and like the music was super cool.
And then there's like fake rainbow solar flares. Like,
I
all
was
around
like,
his
I was
head.
digging that. Like when
Move
when
over,
it
Star
started,
Wars.
I was like, oh, I know I'm gonna love this. And then
And you did it.
and then I
It's like buying a watermelon from the store and being like, "This is gonna be great," and then you decided to eat the rind first. Before
so what you're saying is I don't know how to watch Doctor Who.
No, it's just like you were packaged this thing.
Yes.
And Doctor Who, like, and it's everywhere. You see TARDISes everywhere.
Yeah.
You see like this huge nerd culture, and like for me, this is like the second episode I've ever watched, and the first one I don't remember. It was like forever ago, right?
And you were drunk.
Probably. I was either drunk or stoned. I don't know which one. Wished I was stoned for this one. But like it's given to you like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
It has such a huge
Or
following.
it has such a huge
Yeah.
following, but like
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a popular opinion for everyone that the older stuff is you have to take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, or maybe a big block of salt. But yeah, like a whole shaker, or just lick it like a horse, pretty
Or
much.
a rind of watermelon.
Yes, and a rind of watermelon with some salt, because it's the 80s, and I mean, even though we had things like Alien and Star Wars and all that, those are movies. You're not getting the same type of quality you're getting on TV.
What was like Star Trek like in the 80s?
It was the 60s.
Yeah.
And then it didn't come back until late 80s for next gen. And it was pretty...
And that's what I was going to say. This is quasi Star Trek sort of.
Fill in that
Yeah.
void.
But that's the 60s.
Yeah.
If you think about this, Star Wars is older
Yeah.
than this episode.
I know. And that's
that
what's
is-
crazy. And that looks amazing compared to
Yeah.
this. And it's funny, too, because their fight scenes are choreographed so bad. They're like, I'm going to jump over and grab your gun, and you're just going to give it to me. Okay, cool. That's great.
And they're
did you do
lasers. They're lasers that just went and were like pink and white zebra stripes. Like
Yes.
like it made me so like happy, but then I was just like, oh, this is the best they could do. Like this wasn't like
Yeah, totally.
oh,
this is
on
what they
pur-
had.
This isn't bad on purpose. Like this is
Like they were trying.
they're bad at. And then the stupid gun that just made like a teal disc that was like I hated it.
Well, it was pretty much they saw the stunner from A New Hope where they
Yeah.
stunned Princess Leia, and they're
Like
like,
the
can
blue-
we
the
get
blue
that? And they're
hoops?
like, we can get a quarter of it.
And but we're gonna fill it in.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Don't worry. Wait till the finished
What
product.
about that gun? Nah, mate.
No,
Do
all
it.
right.
So can we mention
It's
too
not
though
necessary.
that guns or whatever, the Doctor defeats the Cyberman commander at the end with basically a potato chip.
Yeah, yeah.
And he just like crumbles it into
They
his
did-
chest.
so in my research, they did not tell you, but Cybermen are allergic to gold, and that was a gold-plated
Yeah.
badge.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I had to look that up. I was like,
Yeah.
why did he die?
Because
from
I was
this?
also like, is he just using his nails to like?
So they say it in the episode. I heard it, but it
Oh,
was
they did.
in the second episode.
Okay.
Right? And
You
they're
needed
like
the subtitles.
When I
yeah, and
fell
it was like,
asleep.
and it was like, yeah, they're like, and they're like, oh, he's allergic to gold, right?
Yeah.
And then that was
I
it.
love
Like they didn't say
gold.
anything about it, and so you're supposed to remember it after another agonizing
I know.
hour and a half.
Yeah, it's true. It's so. And can I just say, me going into this, never having watched Doctor Who, I have a sonic screwdriver spork. Yes, I do. I have a sonic screwdriver spork. So I'm like, hey, I get to actually see this thing in action. This is the period of time they wrote the sonic screwdriver out of the series completely. Nothing. I'm like, seriously?
That's
funny.
what? That was actually going to be something that I mentioned as well because I've always known about the screwdriver
Yeah.
and it's always been synonymous with Doctor Who. So I was like you, looking forward to seeing it. Never there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ridiculous. So let's get into the little bit of a plot breakdown of these 4 parts real quick and let the people know
Let's do
if
it.
they didn't want to watch it, what's going on here. So part 1, we start with a
Who would not wanna
psychedelic
watch
intro.
So we're saving a lot of
Psychedelic
people
intro.
right now.
Yeah, we're saving a lot of people. Instead of an hour and a half, you can watch an hour of us talking about it. I don't know what's worse.
Or if you want, I can come over to your house and
There you
it
go.
could be 3 hours because I keep pausing and talking
And
about
yeah,
it.
that's perfect. Yeah, that's part of our Patreon reward tiers. For $150, we will fly Dave out anywhere.
Except Texas. Rest in peace,
Except
Kevin.
Texas, yeah. Who wants to go there? It's disgusting. It has some
Our
nasty
Doctor Who
people there, I hear. So it
Shapeheads.
starts off, it's the 2500s, like 2549 or something like that, and we're
Yeah.
on Earth, and we're introduced to a military group.
Right.
And they're looking for a group of disappeared archaeologists or paleontologists in an uncharted cavern they were doing. Now,
It's 25.
Here's,
How is there still
Thank you.
uncharted things?
That was the first thing in my head. I'm like, they're the 2500s. There should be nowhere on Earth, not even the Mariana Trench that isn't charted by that point in time. That's 500
I felt
years.
bad that in 700 years, paleontologists still haven't gotten better technology from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, seriously though. Yeah, like
They're going, what is that?
This was my friend's tool. It was just like a little thing.
not only do they not go anywhere, but they have a worse wardrobe. They're wearing these weird jumpers that
Oh,
are
yeah.
terrible. I'm like, where's your Indiana Jones gear? Come on.
Amazing.
And the other thing I thought of was this military group had the finest paintball equipment on. Yeah, they did. Goggles they never wore, just
Never.
hung on their neck the
Yeah,
whole
with
time.
the mask and then
I
like
loved
that
it.
sweet helmet.
Those helmets too.
Yeah.
I went Spaceballs. I
total
immediately thought
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
That's so true.
true.
Yeah, like all the wardrobes on this look like,
wardrobes.
yeah, that's my British accent. The wardrobes look like Spaceballs.
Do
So
this entire podcast in a British accent.
it would turn into.
All right,
a
we're
bunch of
gonna
other
restart.
Yeah.
We started over.
Oi, mate.
Hello, welcome again. Let's go.
Why
That's
does
my
it always
Indian.
come out
That's my
Indian?
Indian. So the group of military
Welcome
people.
to Wreck My Podcast.
All right, guys. So the group of military people go into the cavern. Wait, I lost my spot. So they go into the cavern to try and find all these archaeologists, and they have a guy watching for life signs on the biggest game of Battleship I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So there's a blip that appears while they're in there, and they say, like, if there's a blip, you should tell someone, no matter if it's like, if you think it's false or not. But they're like, should we tell the lieutenant? He's like, it's not worth it. I'm like,
It's not worth it. It was just a defect.
This is how every horror film starts. Like, come on, people, tell them about it. So we're introduced to the doctor and his companions in this story then. And him and the boy Audric, I think his name's, I keep wanting to saying Aldrich with an L, but it's Adric. Adric. Okay.
They're totally banging.
Probably. Yeah.
They're playing gay chicken.
Yeah, they're playing gay chicken for sure. But they start talking about a thing called e-space and have a huge argument about it. I'm like, that's the most 80s thing ever. Like, just put E in front of anything. The internet hasn't occurred yet, so e-space is where we want to go.
It's like how we put I in front of everything.
Yeah, exactly. Like, now it's the I.
Wait,
yeah.
is e-space a thing that comes up a lot?
Yeah.
It's differing universes that they always talk about. The doctor says there's infinite universes, and he can't do that. He can travel through space and time.
Yeah,
but I don't know why it was e-space.
Yeah, so that was just like of the 27 alternate universes, that was E, not A through Z. The other ones, and then it's like in your Excel spreadsheet where it's A B A, and it just keeps going forever and infinity. I love it. So
by the way, the most annoying companion of all time
is Audric.
Oh God, he's so annoying. He was a spoiled little boy, and it's like, oh, by the way, just to throw this in because it's lazy writing, I'm also great at math.
Yeah, which was kind of weird to me. I'm like, okay.
Do you guys remember in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, like the guy who just wants to sing, the prince who just wants to sing and doesn't want to marry that woman, and he like looks out the window. Do you guys remember this at all? And he's really wondering.
No,
I got empty stares from all of them.
I remember like 3
watch
parts
this in
of
the
Monty
e-space?
Python. Yeah, I remember the coconuts. I remember the it's nothing but a flesh wound and the troll. That's all I remember.
Okay.
And knee.
Well, it's the segment where Sir Lancelot wants and he like kills everybody in that room. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So they're going to go rescue this prince who basically he reminds me of Aldrich. He reminds me of Aldrich and he sucks. That's it. He just
okay,
sucks.
there we
That's
go.
it.
For those of you Monty Python fans,
Let's go over
you
the
got
movie
it.
scene by scene.
All right, let's actually go to the plot breakdown of Monty Python now. So
All right. So
so we start off.
So Audric is sorry.
All right, so we have someone watching the military group from the shadows, and we don't know who they are yet. And the doctor's group and the military group meet, and there's a tense standoff. We don't know you. Who are you doing? What are you doing here? Then
who are you doing? He's like,
who are you doing? Who are you
he's
doing
like,
here?
Aldrich. Doing Aldrich.
Yeah, duh. Come on. Can I just say too? He's wearing a celery stalk, and there's a reason why he's wearing a celery stalk. The Fifth Doctor wore a piece of celery on his lapel because he was allergic to a certain gas in the praxis range. Once the celery turned purple, he would eat it, and it would save him. That was like canon. Like he had that celery stalk to like suck the energy out of like a toxic something and then
I was
eat
gonna
it.
say, is this a known thing, Dave?
That's incredible.
It's so weird to me. Like, who came up with that idea, and why a celery stalk? It's so weird.
Imagine if you rubbed the celery into the Cyberman too.
Oh my
that's a
gosh,
beautiful
gold
salad.
and celery.
That's an incredible salad.
That is an incredible salad. It's the richest salad ever. So they're androids. The people looking are androids, and the Cybermen are controlling the androids. Who's controlling the androids? That's the cliffhanger of part 1. And then we go into part 2 and we find out it's the Cybermen controlling the androids. And I guess we were supposed to know who the Cybermen are. For all my notes, I just kept writing those tin guys. Because they didn't really tell you they were Cybermen until the 3rd part. But I guess that like there was an episode called Revenge of the Cybermen from 1979. Like, so these were villains from long before. I just was unaware of that. Uh-oh, Dave's got to go somewhere.
His
Dave's
allergies
going.
are acting up.
Man, Dave doesn't normally sound like this, but he sounds like he has the worst cold ever.
Dave's allergic to Cybermen.
Dave
we
is
said it way too many
allergic
times.
to Cybermen. Here, I'm gonna grab my water real quick.
Yeah. Where's the celery?
I guess,
Grab the celery.
Yeah, grab the celery, Dave. We're taking a 5-minute break here.
I'm losing my voice right now.
Apologies.
I'm back too, people. Sorry about that. Okay, so
that was part 1.
That was part 1. So
And
now
now
we're
a
in. We
commercial
find out
break, part 2.
Cybermen are controlling the androids, and the reason they're controlling the androids is because they're trying to protect this bomb that the Cybermen had planted on Earth. to destroy the planet. So we have the Cybermen and the military group the androids and the military group have the standoff. The military group's able to destroy the androids, and the Doctor and Adric help defuse the bomb, essentially. They essentially start the bomb early and then defuse it. So they're like, okay, who sent these androids and why is this bomb here? Let's find out. So they triangulate the signal from the remote using the androids to a spaceship in Sector 16, Sector 19, somewhere in space.
E-space.
Somewhere in E-space. It's darker than regular space and 30 times faster. So they go to this, they use the TARDIS, and they take the military group in the TARDIS to go to this ship that the signal's coming from, and it's a human-controlled ship. And so we get to the end of part 2, and the Doctor and Adric are out trying to find someone in the ship, and then they get blamed for some of the crew members being killed, and then that's the big cliffhanger for part 2. So we move into part 3.
By the way, that ship is being piloted by the Golden Girls. What the hell was
seriously.
that?
So I wrote, here's my note. I'll say it now
on
instead of
there?
later, but Captain is most sassy British lady I've ever seen. She had some
Who just
spunk.
Yeah, she had some
just
quips.
wanted
She was
her
great.
bonus.
She did.
She
I was
just
like,
wanted her
you
bonus.
just want that bonus. It reminded me of Alien. Anything that's like corporate greed reminds me of Alien. I need my bonus. So the Doctor and Adric get brought in for questioning. The captain won't deviate from her plan, and they're like, you need to like figure out what's going on. She's like, no, I need my bonus, and she won't listen. And then we find out there's a traitor among them, and he wants gold, and he's helping the Cybermen.
Right.
Yeah, and it's all about gold because he knows. Does he know? I don't know if he knows that the Cybermen are trying to destroy Earth because
I don't think anyone on that show that was acting knew what was happening.
no, they were reading lines.
So they got the British lady that wanted her bonus, and the
Yes.
director came in. He was just like, all right, we're going to put on this crazy costume. Okay, ready? All right, just say whatever, but just keep on ending it with, I need my bonus.
Yeah.
Because she said it so many times that we definitely was like, well, she's definitely like working.
Yeah.
Right, like, well, okay, cool. And then,
She was the British Rihanna. She's like, better have my money.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
right. And like, and then the guy, is that her son?
Which
Because
one?
that's good. The one that's the traitor,
I
right?
don't think so. I think he's just a crew member.
Then who's the guy? He was like, when he was like, mother, and she's like,
No,
I'm
he
not-
said ma'am, like mum. Like when they say ma'am, they pronounce it mum. And I think that she said, don't call me that, call me captain.
Because I need my bonus.
I think she was like saying like he was being too flippant with her, like she was a senior. Maybe it was his mom. I
yeah,
don't know.
I thought he was saying like mum, like my mum.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like
It-
my
it-
mom commands a spaceship.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was thinking.
She needs her bonus.
I don't know. Let's get Chelsea on the phone right now.
Thinks these
She's
shiny
British.
guys are allergic to gold, but I'm gonna get gold from the shiny guys. Like I don't know what the hell's going on.
To be honest, I don't understand half of what British people say anyway.
You
so.
need to write the Wikipedia episode
Yes,
for this
do it.
episode.
I also thought it was really weird that all their techno jargon was the laziest techno jargon I've ever heard in a show. I was like, what? That doesn't even make sense. Like, what is
My
this?
favorite is that it takes to the third episode for them to realize that it's the Cybermen.
Oh, yeah. Like, we know, but they
Yeah.
don't.
And there's this great shot where it's like, what is that? And it zooms in on the doctor's face, and he goes, I don't know. Like, what the hell was that?
It's all dramatic.
Why are we doing that? That's awesome. That's amazing. My favorite line in the whole thing was in the second part, though, when they're trying to jam the signal to the bomb, and it does the same zoom in effect on the leader of the Cybermen. He goes, "More power!" I'm like, awesome. Yeah, I want that. That's awesome. That's a great line. More power. So we're at the part they're trying. The traitor comes in and he takes the crew captive. And we find out the Cybermen are on the ship in the silos that they've been carrying this whole time.
Right, wrapped in cellophane.
Yeah, wrapped in cellophane. They're brand new Cybermen, which
Yeah.
I guess they can send their consciousness to a different body, because I think that the leader of the Cybermen was in that room on their planet, and then he sent himself to a new body or something.
Cybermen initially were humans, or sort of humans, that just decided all emotion is weakness. So they put their consciousness in these robots, basically, and when they die, they can transfer it if their brain is still intact. So that's why and they do this thing in Doctor Who where every season they kind of update the Cybermen, so they're constantly updating.
Yeah.
and which is hilarious now because they still look like
Yeah.
And now they're even their voice. They're this guy was talking and talking and talking. Now they go delete. So they're getting.
So they turn more into the Borg, is what you're saying.
They really are. They're getting worse and worse while they think they're getting better and better, which is I think is cool.
Delete. That's for all our wrestling fans out there.
Yeah.
No, so that's pretty much Wall-E. Right? Yeah, they think they're getting better, they're getting worse.
Yeah, exactly.
They also, the doctor and the leader have a discussion about emotion too, which is supposedly the best quote from this, from what I read on fan sites and stuff. The best quote from this is like, you got to enjoy the little things, like when's the last time you smelled a rose or whatever, and they're like, whatever.
Here's my thing about Doctor Who.
Tell me your thing.
I am forced to believe that all of these garbage-looking monsters, right, and garbage-looking sets, and this dude who flies a phone booth, and this like little boy who's good at math, right? We get immersed into this world, right, where everything's really cheesy. It's part of the world, right? You accept it, right? But how am I supposed to accept someone shoving life lessons down my throat while there's a piece of celery on his shirt and a robot who is very clearly just wearing like foam moon boots, like silver Uggs, and he's like, I don't like flowers, and then he's like, that makes you weak, and he's like, like it is so expository and message heavy just at the very end, like. And they're like, oh, you know what we need to do? We need to make this like the more you know.
Pretty much.
Say that,
pretty much.
And it's garbage, right? Like in the other one I watched, like there's no subtlety. And even in this world of like garbage, terrible camp, right? You can still subtly have like the humans be like, hey, you know what? I appreciate the little things, right?
Yeah.
Rather and be like, oh, robots, they don't appreciate these things. And you're going to get it. You can watch it. You can. You don't have to.
You understand.
Don't shove it down my throat. England.
America, we're part of the Brexit. Wait, that's not how that works. I know words. I don't know anything else. So it's true though. I agree. It's like it's a little too heavy-handed, but that's that. Let's be honest. That's television in the 80s. Like exposition was a little heavy-handed in everything, and I feel like that's British television especially. Like. It hasn't changed that much now. Like it's still kind of that same way.
If you're dealing with something that's as story forward, and you have freaking Shakespeare invented every story, right?
Yeah,
and he's from there.
That's true. You mean the Shakespeares are from? Wow.
So you're dealing with something
conspiracies.
as like. The literary device of dramatic irony, right? We know that they are Cybermen. They don't know that the Cybermen are here, right? That is a very strong literary device. That's a thing that they teach you whenever you're writing, whenever you're in film school, whenever you're doing any of that. Whenever you decide to go. That's a thing. They know better. Yeah. Like, you know better. You don't read a script and, like, you don't go, just turn it in. Like, you look at someone and go, what does this sound like?
There's definitely a emphasis on separating. Okay, you're a Cyberman, and this is why you think this, and we're humans, and holier than thou sort of mentality to it. But yeah.
But the Doctor isn't even human.
Right.
He's an alien.
Right. But
he's trying to bring this point up
to be human.
Yeah, it's
true.
That's
he
true.
wants to be human
because
so
no one wants
bad.
to be from Gallifrey. What kind of name is that?
I actually have a timeshare there. It's
you have a
beautiful.
timeshare? Yeah, I bet.
Timeshare.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. We should have a segment at the end that's like MVP joke of the day. And then we'll do like the highlights and everything. That'll be great. So
if you give us $5 on Patreon.
Patreon, there you go. That'll be one of our Patreon exclusive episodes. We'll do a poll.
Good call,
yeah, I love it. So at the end of part 3, we have the Cybermen. They meet all the people. They take them captive, and then they kill the traitor because they bad. And so that's what happens at the end of part 3. So we get into part 4, and this is where all the resolution happens. So Cybermen turn the ship. You like how I sigh before I get ready to go into this? Okay, let's get ready. Cybermen turn the ship into essentially a missile that's at hyperspeed to hit the Earth and destroy it because their bomb was taken out of commission. And then we find out the reason for doing this. There's a unity conference taking place on Earth of a bunch of different planets, and they're going to unify to take on the Cybermen and wipe them out. Cybermen can't have this happen. They want to live. Who doesn't want to live, right? So the leader and the Doctor have their emotion conversation, emotions weakness. They take 35 minutes to prove a point where he's like, well, I'll kill your companion then. And then he's like, okay, do it. And then he goes to do it. He's like, no, don't do it. And he's like, see, emotion is weakness.
Have emotions.
Yeah. And it's like, great, whatever, we get it. And then there was an interesting idea of sadism versus scientific observation, because the Cybermen leave a group of the humans on board to watch their reaction to Earth being destroyed for scientific research. And I'm like, that's kind of a cool little thing in there.
Totally.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, how far will you go for science? Like the idea of like creating life, but then like in Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, like if once you create life, are you responsible for it? Or like, what are these, like where does science end morally, kind of thing?
Life finds a way.
Yes, life does find a way. So Audric is one of the ones who's left behind on the bridge.
Because he wants to do math really bad.
Exactly. He
By
loves
the way,
doing
Joe,
math.
that's not going to be the MVP joke of this.
No, sorry. You tried good. You tried well, but you're not going to happen. So
I
Audric's
think
there.
Cam already won that one.
Audric's there, and he's trying to get the ship to stop, essentially, right?
Yeah, with 3 logic puzzles.
Three logic puzzles. Yes, it's like a video game. So he figures out how to. He can't figure out how to change the course, but he's able to change the time.
Right.
Now, what's your opinion on this? Because I was not aware. Was he aware that he changed time to 65 million years, or no? Because later on, so he changes it. There's 65 million years in the past, but he can't change spatial coordinates, which means that it's still
Right.
locked on to Earth. So it's different time frame, but locked on to Earth. And he's able to get it out of hyperspace. So now it's like a meteorite hitting it. So the funny thing is, this is what is the dinosaur extinction event. It was not a meteorite. It was this ship hitting it. The doctor getting his hands into time like Time Lords aren't supposed to do created this event.
I also love that they go back 65 million years and the Earth is in the exact same spot.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, why not?
That was a nice coincidence.
But here's my question. So this event is supposed to take place, which means Audric should have gotten on that escape pod and left, because this is supposed to happen. It doesn't change anything. So does he know that he went back?
Nail on the head. He doesn't know.
That's what I
because the
think.
doctor
Yeah.
says that in the TARDIS. He says, "Oh, we went back 65 million years." He's so caught up with his code.
That he doesn't know. He's just trying to get it off of Earth. So so that makes sense to me, because I'm like, why else would he be trying so hard to stop it hitting Earth? You know?
It's an
okay.
inevitable outcome. So
Yeah.
if he had known that, he would have jumped in the TARDIS.
Okay, perfect. Cool. So that clears that up. Essentially, Audric stays on. The doctor kills the Cyberman with the gold thing that we were talking about. The
potato chip.
The potato chip.
Yeah.
Cool. Audric can't finish the formula in time because one of the Cybermen come up and shoot the console. So they're like, well, he could have if he had enough time.
And so they shoot the typewriter.
The typewriter, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. The typewriter without the paper, exactly.
Uh-huh.
And that blows up. So
It really is the Golden Girls. They have a typewriter.
or Murder, She Wrote. She's just sitting there like, there's something going on. Is that what Angela Lansbury sounds like? I don't know.
By the way,
My
best
bad.
Angela Lansbury
Yeah,
ever.
that's my Angela Lansbury impression. So Audric can't do it, so he's essentially going to die. But I love, was he clutching a blanket? Like he's clutching something at the end. And I'm like, what is he clutching? And I wasn't going to go back and check.
I love his last words.
What did he say? What's his last words? Oh, I could have done it.
No. Now I'll never know if I was right.
Yeah. I'll never know if I was right. Famous
Shut
last
up,
words.
nerd.
Yeah,
Get
this
on the
guy-
ship.
This guy is the douchiest guy ever.
Awesome.
I was
ever.
telling them before we started, he's the Carl of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you just
'Cause
want
you-
him to die so bad.
You want him to die, but then when he does, you feel bad afterwards. You're like, okay. So
Absolutely.
spoiler, the end, he dies. Audric dies on the ship, and it literally cuts to the credits with no sound and his broken
Potato chip
pin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I was not expecting that ending. I was like, that's a little more
That was my
morbid and
favorite
dark
part.
than I thought it was going to get.
Right. That was the best part of the whole show, was that choice in editing.
Yes.
To go from how noisy of a television show that is to make you revel in just silence and be like, oh, this like annoying kid's dead.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
oh man, this is awful.
Pretty progressive. A lot of
Yeah, it
shows
really
do
is.
that nowadays, but
The end of The Sopranos.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what
the
that was.
quiet
It was like,
credits.
Very abrupt.
yeah, at the end, I can imagine the British people at the end going, "What the hell?
They stole our
It's
idea.
terrible."
Yeah. No. So that was. I did like that ending. I was a little bummed I didn't get to hear that cool song again at the end with the credits, but whatever. I'll get over it. But I had to look up. So I'm like, do they bring Audric back? But I guess that was his. That's how they wrote him off.
Done.
He was done. I guess he was
Done.
in like a lot of episodes though up to that point. Like he had been a companion
was a
for a little
companion, yeah.
while. So
That's the curse of the Doctor. He lives for
True.
so long, and it's a real cool thing. Everybody wants to live forever, but the Doctor really shows you live so long, you see all the people you care about die.
Yeah.
And that's the curse of the
Which
Doctor.
isn't that? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't even bring this up. Interview with a Vampire. Isn't that like one of the themes that goes through that?
Well, yeah, I mean that's rooted in the first ever science fiction story called The Alchemist, and I think it was actually written by
Stephen King.
No, Mary Shelley, actually, who wrote Frankenstein, but I'm not 100%
Yeah.
sure. Don't fact check me. But it's a short story, and it's considered the first ever science fiction because instead of using magic to stay alive forever, this alchemist creates a potion of whatever, like everlasting life. And this guy and his apprentice takes it. And it's this short story of him just watching everybody die.
It
his
is
whole
kind of a
life,
bummer, like-
and that's it. And he can't even he can't commit
It's
suicide. He can't do any
It's
of that.
brilliant, though.
The
It's
idea
really-
that we fear our mortality and
Yeah.
fear death, but it's almost worse not having that occur.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's that weird human juxtaposition thing
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
like
Ever
yeah,
since
that'd be a
that
bummer.
story was written, it's been a major thing. About
Oh yeah,
time travel
and it's amazing. Like
everlasting life.
it's amazing when you branch back to that's the first time that idea was written down. Like that idea probably had occurred in other like spoken stories and stuff. But I'm like, oh my gosh, like for someone to think of that, like what is it now that we're gonna think of that someone's gonna come like that's gonna be the new like, oh yeah, this is our moral question or whatever. Like, is there some? Do you think we've done it all already?
Yeah, it's like a smash or pass.
Yeah. Okay.
That is what we contribute.
For all our older listeners, they're not going to know what the heck you're talking about. Okay.
Oh man.
So
That was really-
Audric
that was
dies.
really dumb.
That's the end. I liked it. You're just going for the gold on the MVP joke
Yeah.
this
now,
whole
now that I know
episode.
that there's a
Yeah,
competition.
you're like,
Joe
I'm
and I
doing
need to
it.
step our game up.
Yeah, step it up,
seriously.
fellas. Step it up, fellas. Okay, so let's go around. What was your favorite character of this episode?
Oh, Tegan. She's
Tegan.
such a babe. I love Tegan.
You know what I loved about the girl companions? I was like, so they haven't gotten out of the 70s hairstyles by 82 yet. Which one was
Absolutely.
Tegan? Was
She's
she the
the-
one who went off the ship or stayed on the ship? Or on TARDIS?
I forgot. She was in
She's
red.
in red, yeah.
She.
So she went off, I think. I
Right,
think
right.
Nissa was the one who stayed on the TARDIS. Yeah. Cool. So
by the
Tegan.
way, watching it at home with my girlfriend, she kept calling them Tegan and Sarah.
Oh, Tegan and Sarah. Nice. That's great. That's great. Hey, whatever. Whatever helps you remember it.
Yep.
How about you, Cam? What was your favorite character?
You have to pick one.
Smash or pass?
All right. FMK. F the Doctor. K Adric.
Okay.
And then Mary Tegan.
Oh, not the Cybermen?
No, but my favorite, I think, of genuinely on the thing was the Cybermen because they just looked like someone spray painted, like electronics that they got from a Radio Shack,
Oh, yeah.
like a bundle bin.
It was-
that were super glued to their bodies and spray painted silver.
It was
and I was
great.
like, I like this.
I love that everything was supposed to be metallic and steel, but you could see their mouth moving underneath their
Oh,
little
that-
slot.
that-
I was like, yeah, that's great.
I was enamored by that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only part I would stare at was like this, just like weird.
Because I want to know
clapping.
logistically what that is in the lore. Like, so is this like your mouth flap that stayed, or like what's going on? Like, what's happening with this? If your consciousness is supposed to be in this body. Anyway, what's your favorite, Joe?
Well, might come as a big surprise now, but it's definitely Tegan.
Wow.
She was
All
a
right.
babe.
Tegan's a babe.
Yeah, she was a babe.
I'm the only one who thought the lieutenant was the best. That mustache was awesome. I don't know. I feel like I didn't connect with the companions at all, like the girl companions. I feel like they were just like there.
You had seasons to connect with them.
Okay,
This
so
was-
it's
this
just
was a-
because I
yeah.
hadn't watched the stuff before.
Right. They are integral, actually. It's Adric and the Doctor mostly.
Yeah.
But you know, people just kind of knew them, and it was almost a made for TV movie. This one,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, Tegan and Sarah. they were well established already.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
So it was like big thing that Adrian died.
Adric,
Huge.
yeah.
Yeah. I was looking it up after I watched it, and there was like these things in the newspapers.
They were writing in.
I will not watch Doctor Who anymore.
wow.
This was so violent.
That's
They say
crazy.
all this great.
Like you don't even see him die. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Oh man, God forbid that like a pink thing got drawn on the celluloid.
I know, right? And a really terrible explosion.
Yeah, just like a cap gun in someone's hand. Like, oh no.
So what's your least favorite, Dave? Least favorite of this episode?
Jeez, I wasn't expecting this question, so I'm gonna go with Tegan.
She's just everything for you.
I don't know. I think the Cybermen are pretty distracting. Actually, I'm gonna go with that captain. I could
captain?
not stand her. Give her a bonus already.
Yeah, just give her a bonus and get her off there. She's old enough. I'm like, retire already. You should have severance and be set for life.
I mean, that's the problem with baby boomers, right?
Yeah. that was such a before its time.
Yeah.
I love it. The 2500s really haven't changed since now. Huh? So Cam, who was your least favorite?
The whole thing.
The whole perfect.
The show.
The show. The writers, Sam Seward or Ed Seward
All of it.
or
I
whatever.
mean,
Stalk of celery.
And like my thesis film for grad school that I got an MFA for making is a campy science fiction movie where I made everything out of trash. Okay, like I built a spaceship out of trash. My stop motion spaceship I did was a piece of foam that I duct taped and painted on to make it look like a spaceship.
Yeah. And it looked better than this.
I don't know if it looked better, but like I feel like I didn't beat you over the head with all this stuff. Like, and, I mean, granted, mine's like 12 minutes long, but still,
I feel like this could have been 12 minutes
should
long,
have
and it would
been.
have been fine.
Yeah.
Like one episode could have done this whole thing.
4 freaking
Yeah,
episodes.
it by
2
the
hours.
end,
It's 2 hours of nothing until they tell you to smell a flower and that dinosaurs were killed by a spaceship.
which I was also
seriously.
like, why? At first, I was like, why are we talking about dinosaurs at the beginning of the series? And like, why are we talking about phosphorus on them? I'm like, I don't get this. And then when you got to the end, you're like,
I see you.
That's essentially what I did.
Yeah.
So Joe, who was your least favorite?
I could not get over the way these Cybermen looked.
Yeah,
Could not
Cybermen.
get over them at all.
I thought the traitor was my least favorite. That guy rubbed me
Oh, he's
great, but also the wrong way. I hated that guy. I was like, you just want your gold. And the fact that he grabbed that pin and he's like, what is it made of? And he's like, it's just gold on the outside. He's like, I still want it. Like, this guy, what is this? This is like twirly mustache villain guy.
He was like a line away from saying, "There's gold in them hills."
Yeah, seriously. All right,
He's
prospector.
crazy.
I feel is every like once again I'm not an expert. This is the first one that I genuinely remember watching. Maybe I blocked out the other one because it felt the same way. Do all of them feel like every single performer is a community theater actor?
Isn't that British television?
It really is.
It's
yeah.
just so weak.
Yeah.
And it's like sad and melodramatic and like over the top. And
It started out as a kid's show.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. They're hitting you with lessons.
But I will tell you this too. The reason why the lines aren't great, they gave them one take. There were no second takes.
Really?
That's true. For these episodes and most of the series at this time, one take is all they got. Which means if they flubbed a line, the rest of the cast had to cover for it.
Wow.
so
They
it's,
wouldn't.
it's community
Just because
theater.
of the budget?
Yeah, it's community theater. I don't know if it's the budget or what, but it said that this
Well, it's
run.
got to be the budget because in the 80s they were probably shooting.
Yeah,
on
they were just like, we
satellite.
need to
It's
go.
expensive.
We need to go.
If they
We
don't
need
have
to
the
get
budget,
done.
film is hard to.
Yeah.
Well, it
to
makes
do.
sense why you see the Cybermen's mouth sometimes and not
Yeah,
other times.
exactly.
They're just going.
So that's what it was. They just needed to belt these things out. So I was going to play a fun little game, but we won't now because we already talked about it, called How Many Times Did You Fall Asleep? But we already talked about that. So
I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, you were on the edge of the seat the whole time. I'm going to give you guys some fun facts here. Let's get into some fun facts about Doctor Who.
Fun facts.
So, as you stated earlier, Dave, this was the 5th Doctor. Peter Davison is the one who played it. Did you know he is the father-in-law of David Tennant,
Yes.
who also played a Doctor?
His daughter is Georgina Moffat, who was
Mm-hmm.
in an episode opposite David Tennant, and they fall in love. And Tennant is a Doctor Who. He's a
Oh, yeah.
movie-
He said he got into acting to be Doctor Who.
yeah.
That's crazy.
And
That
he
is
ends up-
crazy.
He's
Talk
imagine
about
being
fulfilling
such
a
a
life dream.
Imagine being such a Star Wars fan. You marry Mark Hamill's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I
That's
do
insane.
that?
Is this a thing?
Am I allowed to get a second wife?
You know what? She looks just like Mark Hamill.
Oh, never mind.
I won't complain.
I won't complain.
Pre or post accident.
Oh, jeez. Took it there. MVP joke award. So the original pilot of Doctor Who back in like whatever, the 60s or whatever, thought to be lost forever. But they found it in 1978 in a mislabeled film can. Imagine that. Just being like,
that's awesome.
we found it, guys. Like, thank God we didn't throw this film can away that we thought
I didn't know it was lost because I've watched it.
It was lost for like 20 years, and then they found it just randomly. Like some intern was like alphabetizing everything. It's like, what's Doctor Who?
I'm going to put this under X.
Yeah.
We're going to put this in E space.
E space. They have a drawer that's just E space files. The E space files. The E files. New show. So do you guys know why the TARDIS is a police box and always stays a police box? Dave, do you know this?
I'll shut up.
No, if anyone else knows. No.
Dave,
So tell me.
They found it.
So the TARDIS can morph into anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay.
And he went back to police boxes were a thing. You would lock someone who was a criminal in a police box until the police could come. So he went to a time period where there was it morphed into a police box, and the TARDIS broke. And he loved it so much he just kept it. So the Doctor is flying around constantly, and it looks like a police box.
Yeah.
He just thought it was cool because any TARDIS, if you go back to the originals, they're big stones. And because they can travel anywhere and it'll morph into anything.
Yeah, like the example here is in Rome. It
camouflage
would be like a
itself.
big pillar or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So the Doctor is just like, oh, I'm zany. Look, it's a police box in the middle of the
Yeah.
desert. Like that was their whole like British mindset. But it's
Humor.
become iconic.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
the
definitely.
specific reason, and it said it in an early episode, is the chameleon circuit broke.
The
And
chameleon
yeah, that's what it
circuit,
was.
that's
And he
right.
just didn't want to
Yeah.
fix it kind of thing.
Yeah. And sorry to nerd out, but some people think that he broke it because he
likes it so much?
So much, yeah.
I think that's good. I like that more
I
than
would
it just
take
being
that,
broken.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. Because you would think by this time he'd be able to fix it. You're a Time Lord.
Yeah.
You have all the time in the world to fix
And
this
like
thing.
you want a hero to make active choices.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not
To
just,
happen
yeah,
to them.
exactly. So did you guys know that Doctor Who is banned in China?
So is Peppa
really?
Pig.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So do you want to know why it's banned in China, though? So any Doctor Who and any other television program that features time travel is banned in China because the government doesn't want to promote anything that can be seen as rewriting history. Like they don't want anything,
really?
like any idea of the fact that even you could go back in time in a fantasy world. That's how crazy they are.
That dinosaurs were destroyed by a spaceship.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
like
that's true though.
that is true. That's canon
It happened.
for the world. Yeah, it happened. We saw it in this episode.
Yeah.
History event.
Cut it out, Joe.
And did you guys know
Get your
that
hat
in the
out of your
late 1980s, at the height of Michael Jackson's career, Paramount Pictures proposed a Doctor Who movie that would see the King of Pop play a Time Lord?
Oh God.
Obviously and unfortunately, this never happened. I don't know if unfortunately. I pulled that from a fan site. I don't know if I want. Have you seen Captain EO?
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
amazing.
I don't know, but I don't know if I want him playing the Time Lord. My favorite part.
We're gonna change the world.
Yeah, I never saw Captain EO until I was older, and when it came back,
Yeah.
like a few years back, and like they have this epic thing. You're waiting for Michael Jackson to get there. He comes up and he's like, "Hello, everyone!" Like,
That's amazing.
it's like this pan up from below up to his face, and you're expecting like superhero kind of status. And, hi, everyone! Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Can you just imagine the Doctor? What's gonna happen? I don't know. He's gonna get back to the TARDIS.
I hate these Cybermen.
Yeah, just the random.
You know, he was, there's
Where
rumor
are
he
you,
was supposed to
Adric?
be Jar Jar too, right?
Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
I think he was.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have
I
you
did hear
heard
about that,
about
actually.
Ahmed Best's new
Yeah.
like web series that's out and everything?
Yes.
Oh, it's heavy. it's
it's
crazy.
it's
like
really
a
dark.
coworker of mine just told me about it, and it's insane because he talks about the time when he was gonna like commit suicide because of all the backlash and everything.
Yeah.
Like
Because he voiced Jar Jar.
seriously, because you did
He
something.
voiced a
that-
fake alien.
He did something that on paper was supposed to skyrocket his. He was supposed to be Andy Serkis. Is essentially what it was. That's crazy. That's insane. Anyway,
and then he
tangent.
stepped in poop and said yucky.
Yeah, and now everyone hates his guts. Don't hate him, guys. He didn't write the line. He was just doing what he was told. Don't hate George Lucas either.
Just hate Doctor Who.
Yeah, just hate Doctor Who. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the end of it. Unless you have any fun facts.
Dave actually had a fun fact earlier that I didn't know about the Doctor himself, the actor that portrayed him. That he was like,
Oh, he was a sex symbol. He was a huge sex
Every
symbol.
doctor?
No, the fifth doctor.
Oh, the fifth doctor, because he
Davidson.
was the youngest up until Matt Smith.
Bingo. It was the first time they were trying to bring in an all-new audience and kind of get away from the kid sort of show. And so this guy was just the blonde hair and coming in and stuff. And you put it on goggles of today, and he looks like a pompous jerk.
Oh, yeah, totally, yeah. He looks like what I imagine Raymundo from Rocket Power would look like when in his younger years.
Dude, they had like the same
What?
hat.
He's a celery stalk away.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I love, too, that Regeneration was literally written because they cast the Doctor so old and he couldn't do it anymore. They're like, well, how are we going to recast this? It's popular. We need to bring it back. And instead of doing the James Bond theory of just like, they won't care. They're like, no, we need a reason. And they just wrote it in. They're like, sure, just he's an alien. Have him regenerate.
Yeah.
And I guess, too, like the regeneration process of like, I guess in the first time they did it, they had the white balance go way too much and then brought the other actor in, and it was like by accident. Like it was supposed to look different, and it ended up just looking bad because of poor cinematography. Like it looked good because of poor cinematography made it look better than what it was originally supposed to be, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I just loved that the whole idea of regeneration. I'm like, that's such a like a not lazy, but like a cop out.
It's a total cop out. It's corporate greed.
Yeah.
We don't want this show to stop.
Ever end. And if one doctor isn't doing well, just kill him off and bring in a new one.
Absolutely.
Because BBC, I mean, they just want their bonus.
Yeah. Maybe that was the writer writing it. He was like, they haven't given me my bonus yet.
Yeah,
bonus. I got to remind him.
A subtle hint to BBC. Give me my bonus.
Give me my bonus, guys. All right, well, yeah, that's the end. I was going to ask you, Dave, so what got you into this? Because I remember a long, long time ago, we had a discussion. You were like, you know what I'm into pretty much. And you're like, for what you're into, you would actually really like Doctor Who. And I never got into it. What kind of was the starting off point for you to get into this?
I've always loved sci-fi. Where I guess where Star Wars is the pinnacle, I wanted to go to the exact opposite and find something so campy and so ridiculous that I can make fun of it.
Yeah.
And I ended up falling in love with it so much.
Yeah.
You know, I started out with the Ninth Doctor, the rebooted series.
And is that Matt Smith?
That's Eccleston.
Eccleston. Oh, that's right. I forgot Eccleston did a Doctor Who. That's cool.
That's right, yeah. And so
Totally forgot that.
Eccleston rebooted the series, and it starts out with a great concept of the Doctor who detests violence and hates weapons. There was a war, the Time War, and this Doctor is essentially a PTSD sort of doctor.
Yeah.
And it was enthralling. It was such a cool idea for a series. And then from him, it goes to David Tennant, and you can't get
David
much better
Tennant's
than that.
great. I love
He's
that guy.
incredible. He's my favorite Doctor. And then you go Matt Smith. I just got engulfed in it, and then started going back and
What about
looking at the old ones?
What about Capaldi? How is he?
He was decent. I liked him a lot. It got very dark. They went the whole Marvel route where it's like, hey, what if we go really dark with the Doctor?
Okay.
And I really like that.
Throwing in
And,
some
and,
comedy.
and they really go on the fact that he's Scottish. A lot. I really like that. But yeah. So
what's your thoughts on
cool.
the current Doctor?
yeah,
Well, I was gonna say a
she's
female
coming up.
doctor. How do you feel about that?
I love the show. I love anything where give her a fair shake. If she sucks, she sucks. If she's awesome, she's awesome.
He doesn't have a neck beard. He's not going to yell about it.
I don't know. Here's the thing, though. So the
did
reason
shave
I bring
today.
it up, I don't want to get political. I bring it up for a reason here. Or
Yeah.
is that political? I don't know what that is. Sexist. The reason is because Peter Davison had an opinion on this.
I know. Ugh.
He said in like 2012 when they asked him, "Do you ever think it'll be a woman?" He goes, "I don't think it'll ever be a woman, only because this is like a role model for young boys, and like it's written to be a man." And then when they did cast, they asked him, they're like, "So what do you think?" And he's like, "I think they're making a big like." He wasn't rude about it, like, women suck. I don't think women should be. But he was like, it's not written for a woman. I don't think this is going to be good. Like, they are just doing this to be novel, and it's not novel. We can see right through it. And he got so much backlash that he had to go off social media. Just like anyone who calls out, which I'm not going to say I agree with him, but I see where he's coming from in the sense that we have like the Ghostbuster reboot and like Ocean's 8, these terrible movies that they literally just do like control find he and replace it with she. And it's like, you're not writing a movie for women. You're writing a movie because you want to be like the new, like appealing to people. And I'm like, write Atomic Blonde, Lucy, like write a movie for a woman,
Yeah.
and it works instead of writing a generic crappy movie and throwing women in there and then being like,
Absolutely.
well, it must be because the women were in it. It's bad. It's like, no, you wrote a generic crappy movie, and to boost sales, you threw some women in it. That's essentially what you did. So I'm like, just don't be lazy with it. If they write it well, she will do a good job.
Right.
I mean, if she's a good actress too. I don't know much about
She's
her.
on Broadchurch. She's incredible.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if they write it well, I mean, based on everything that I've seen, it's impossible.
Just doomed to fail.
So-
Yeah, it's just do.
It's also, you got to take it by character. You know, the Doctor's
Yeah.
a freaking alien. You can do whatever you want with that.
It's true.
It's not like doing a female James Bond. That's
Yeah.
a misogynistic douchebag. You can't have that as a woman.
You'd
That
have
wouldn't
to
make
you'd
any
have to
sense.
change the character completely. Like
Right.
it would definitely have to be a shift of perspective because you're right. He's a womanizer.
Right.
That's part of who James Bond is.
Exactly.
And it's gotten less and less womanizing over the years, but it's still pretty bad
Right.
even now. But like at least he's not like slapping girls on the butt and like raping them pretty much like how he used to. It's
Goldfinger.
consensual.
Goldfinger, go away, men talking.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, that kind of stuff. At least they're writing that out. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, it'd be cool. I don't think they should ever turn James Bond into a woman. I think they should give James Bond like a buddy that's a woman. Like they kind of did that with Penny. What's her name in the show?
Oh man,
Are you talking about Penny Inspector Gadgets?
No. There's a girl who
the
used to be his
secretary.
like secretary, but she actually went into the field in like one of the
I can't
newer
believe
ones.
I'm a James Bond
Oh, I'm
nerd.
not
I can't
Yeah,
believe
I'm totally blanking. I wanted to say Pennyworth, but that's Alfred.
it. Moneypenny.
Moneypenny, that's it. Moneypenny.
There
They
you
gave her.
go.
They gave her a lot more to do. And also in the Jason Bourne, the newest one, like the chick who was his informant or whatever, like she kind of got into it a little bit. I forget her name, the actress and her name, and it's been a while since I watched Bourne movies, but they gave her some stuff to do. So you can do these things
Right.
where you don't have to like take a character we know and turn it into a woman. You can bring them in and give them their own character,
Right,
and
something
make it
original.
work great.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's called not
Jo-
being lazy
And Jodie
writing
Whittaker's
well.
a great actress, and so I think if they do he's making a joke, but the new series have been so well written, and so if they knock it out of the park, they do that. But
Yeah.
again, they have a huge chance to hit you over the head with that, and
Yeah.
that would be unfortunate.
As long as they're not heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And as we know from this episode,
It was like the heaviest hand. I'm
Heaviest
surprised
hand I've
that
ever
a spaceship that careened into Earth
Yeah.
is not shaped like Master Hand from Smash Bros.
so funny. All right, guys. Well, that's
Or
Doctor
shaped
Who.
like a dinosaur.
Or it's like a dinosaur chicken nugget.
that would be amazing.
That would be awesome.
I would rescind all of my hatred to that episode
that
if
would
there
make
was
the
a
whole
dino
thing.
nugget flying into it.
That
I
would make it-
apologize so much for my nose, guys. Thank you.
That's okay. We'll have you on another time, and we'll go outside Santa Clarita.
I'll bring you some Benadryl.
Yeah. We'll have some Benadryl, or you just wear a mask.
Back my podcast hits the road.
Hazmat
goes to
suit.
Culver City.
Yeah, we'll go to Culver City. There's got to be some good breweries down there we
that-
could hit after
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah,
That would be great.
I'm down
Come
for
on
that.
down. I'll cook for you guys.
There you go.
Hey,
he is a
that's
chef.
Worth it in itself.
Yeah,
Come
that's
on
cool.
down.
Yeah, you got
Come
a
to
cool new
Google.
job.
Come
yeah,
check me out.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
oh.
So you do it. We didn't even mention what you do for a living. You cook for Google.
I
So
cook for
you're at the
Google.
Google headquarters,
Yes.
and you just do like events when they have events there, or like
Uh,
cafeteria, or
I
like
do
what
the
is
kit-
it?
the catering a little bit, but
Okay.
mostly we cook for the Googlers.
Okay.
So
Is that what they're called?
Called Googlers.
Googlers.
definitely called
The
Googlers.
people who watch this show are called Reckies.
and I swear, to God, they have things that they need to live up to, and if they aren't living up to it, they say that's not very googly. I swear to God.
I would not be able to take them serious.
No. That's
Oh,
real.
no.
That's real.
And I went,
That's so
out of all the things that are cool, this is the lamest part of working at Google.
That is so
I'm not being very googly.
amazing. Don't be. Yeah,
You know what? Delete that. I like my job.
Yeah. No, I think you do like your job. You post about it a lot. You've always
Yeah.
loved cooking.
Yeah.
So it's cool that you have a
Definitely.
spot that you actually enjoy and you get
It's
to kind
great.
of
It's great.
do your style of it and everything for a
Yeah.
lot of people, especially for a company that's so well known as Google. That's pretty cool.
Have you ever had
Yeah.
someone like eat your food and be like, "Ooh, that was really Google."
No, that's a compliment. They're like, give my Googles to the chef.
Give my Googles to the chef.
How many Google bucks do you have?
Well, what's that episode of South Park where the aliens are Mardar? And it's like, oh, this is Mardar. Everything's Mardar. Like that's exactly what it is.
That's
over there.
awesome. So yes, go check out Dave at Google. But first, you have to apply and get a job at Google. But yeah, So that's cool that you do that. So let's plug it up here real quick. So you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at WreckMyPodcast to keep up with everything we're doing. We're on the Apple Podcast app, Google Play, Spotify, and on YouTube, so you can see our beautiful faces and see Dave blowing his nose a bunch, which is always fun.
So sorry.
That's great. Give us a like, comment on it. Be sure to leave a review on Apple. No longer are we allowing Cam to give out his drawings as a review reward anymore, because I will tell you why. As I stated at the beginning, we have a new Patreon.
Yeah.
And our top reward tier lets you get a custom art print from Cam that he will make by hand, and we'll send it to you.
I'll make you a thing.
Wow.
Yeah, he'll make you a thing, which is amazing. So there's other reward tiers though.
Yeah.
Anything.
It'll be pop culture related.
Yeah, exactly. You want something cool. Let
Right.
Cam be in control of it, because he's probably way more cool than your idea is
Can
going
it
to
be
be.
from Earthshock?
If you want it to be from Earthshock,
There
What the
you go.
Cybermen should have looked like.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll ask whomever donates
Yeah.
that much what they're like. I guess top 5 things they're
Pop
into,
culture thing.
Yeah.
and I'll draw them a thing.
Yeah. So if you go look at that Patreon, even throwing us like $1, we'll give you a shout out on the show. Any little bit helps. We're just doing it to kind of cover some production costs. I have some hosting fees. It'd be cool to get some new equipment in here. Anything we make, anything that you're so gracious enough to donate to this show, we're gonna put back into the show. It's not like I'm gonna be like, beer money, great. Or unless we have a drunk episode where we need to provide beer, then that would be putting it back into the show.
That was last week.
Yeah. Everyone was drunk.
There's
Yeah,
still one coming.
we have an episode where we need to be drunk for that's coming
We
up
should
at
add
some
that
point.
to this time. Like, my favorite character was celery stalk.
Yeah, it'd be the drunk. I love Veggie Tales. Anthropomorphic, they're great.
That's what we were watching, right?
Yeah.
Drunk VeggieTales.
Drunk Veggie Tales. That actually might not be bad. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, there's some other reward tiers you can get. You can for $3. You also get production credit for this. So we'll put your name in the show notes. Because people love
Ending
reading
credits.
the show notes. It's like reading a shampoo bottle. Some people do it on the toilet. And there's some other ones too, like if you give us a certain amount of money, I don't remember, go check the Patreon, you can submit either an email or a video or audio question that we have to answer while we record.
Oh, that's
So it
cool.
could be as
Any question?
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
promise to answer
Oh,
truthfully
that
about
can
it.
get
So it could
dangerous.
get dangerous. But yeah, throw us some money, throw us some dough, and that's what we'll do. We have new
Not
episodes
literal
coming
dough.
out every Wednesday. We also have every Monday. We have Stoked on This, which we're going to do really quick here in a minute. That's a fun episode. And thank you to my guests for being here. Thank you, Dave, for braving the
Dave.
the
Yeah,
allergies and for providing us with some
yeah.
insight.
I love it. I have all this useless information of Doctor Who.
And now you can throw it
I
out
got
there.
to
I
use
know.
it.
It's perfect. It's great.
We'll have to do another one. Of
We'll do
like
another
an
one with like
actual
newer
modern
ones.
Please.
Yeah.
episode.
Or maybe we'll watch, I guess there was in the 90s, there was like a straight to TV movie that kind of didn't do too
Oh,
well. That would be
so
interesting
bad.
to check
Computer
out.
became-
Can we,
Yeah.
if we're gonna watch Doctor Who, can we actually watch like good Doctor Who?
I know.
or
Yeah. We
something?
do need to actually watch some good Doctor
We
Who
could watch
for once.
Blink. Greatest episode ever.
Blink.
Blink. Is that like Doctor
Great.
Is that the
Who's
one with
Brink?
like the guys when you close your eyes they get closer?
The Weeping Angels.
Do
I
they-
know about that.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do they
so
do it
good.
182 times?
82.
Is that
On
how many
that
times
joke.
you do it?
That is not
I
an
think that's.
MVP
I think,
joke.
no, that's not. I think that's how we're gonna close it.
I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Blink-182.
I got you.
Hey, you get it?
I get
Blink-182. The
Blink-182.
greatest jokes are the jokes you have to explain.
You know what?
Yeah, yeah.
I still
See,
don't get it.
You know why it didn't work for me? It's because we said blink, we stopped, we talked about something else, then talked about something else, and then you said the number.
I have a problem letting things go. But I
just
don't
waiting
have
for
a
his opening.
problem letting go of this episode. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
All right, bye, love you.